Welcome back folks, my name is LastKnownMeal and today in Cyberpunk 2077 lore we are going to go through the history of every gang in Night City in the game. Well, as I said, the video game itself, pen and paper side of the universe, has a lot more gangs, but we will talk about them in the future. Now, I already covered some of these organizations before, but I wasn't happy with the videos and having them here in one place is much better to learn from, so let's get into it. The first gang we're going to talk about are the Malestrom. They are by far one of the most violent and dangerous groups in Night City. Each member is pretty much obsessed with cyberware and they do everything they can to put as much cyberware in their body as possible to make them stronger and faster. Now, almost all of their members are borderline cyber psychos because they put so much metal into themselves. And usually that isn't done by top doctors and shrinks, it's just done by a cheaper option. And because of that, you pay the price of your humanity. Malestrom is situated in the industrial part of Watson District, so Northside Industrial District and Northern Kabuki. And they usually split up into smaller groups so they can cover each one of their turfs and terrains. They get their money from illegal meds, drugs, taking hit jobs where they execute a target in the most gruesome way possible, and also they are capable of executing high-tier heists on corporate transport. So they might be insane, but they are far from being stupid, and their leader is, at least in this mission in Cyberpunk, Royce. Usually all Malestrom members want to replace their weak skin, so they will put all kinds of cybernetics into themselves. And as I said before, all of them are cyber psychos, but they don't mind it. They actually embrace that, and technically they can handle, because of their way of thinking towards these cybernetics, they're kinda able to withstand that amount of cyberware before going completely mad. Now, next on the list we have the Animals, and they are a dangerous street fighting gang. They value strength, so they push their bodies to the absolute limit with workouts and cyberware they put into their body. Now, they are different than the Malestrom because they use cyberware, but only where it's needed and to make them stronger, not to make them a machine or something like that. They also don't have a permanent turf and a leader, but if there is a job, a big job they have to do, they band together and select an ad hoc leader, like Sasquatch, for example, was in the deep dive demo. Usually their leader is the strongest, the person among them. In this case of the mission we had seen, their ad hoc leader is Sasquatch. And they sure like to look as animals. They even put certain implants like spotted or stripped skin and bestial jaws to make them scary. Now, as I said, they don't have a permanent turf, but you will see them everywhere around Night City as bouncers or bodyguards. But there is a bigger presence of animals in the Southern Pacifica region. They get their money from raids on other turfs and residential areas, but they also organize illegal underground fighting, so I'm sure we will have a match against them a few times like we had seen before in certain trailers. They also do sell drugs and anabolic steroids. Next on the list are Voodoo Boys, a mysterious organization with roots in Pacifica region. They are also a net running gang, meaning they specialize in the net and hacking. Keep in mind they are also an exclusive group and are made up of people entirely from Haitian origin, since this group was founded by voodoo priests and priestesses, which is an important thing in the Creole culture. As I said, they are situated in Pacifica, which is also a combat zone, meaning police presence is almost non-existent, and the only way to root out crime from that area is to nuke it completely, but they can't do it, so they just left them in ruins. And they are there because during 2062, natural disasters wiped out Haiti completely from the map, and all the places surrounding it, so they came en masse to Night City. Now, the main activities of this gang is hacking databanks and stealing information in the net. As much as they can though, because the net is protected by the Black Wall and Netwatch, so they are constantly on Netwatch radar. But nevertheless, they are extremely powerful. They are capable of hacking anything, so I'm sure that the entire Pacifica region is covered by this group and they can easily see everything you do in that region. Next up we have the 6th Street, and they are formed by the veterans of the Fourth Corporate War and a lot of old-fashioned American patriots who came together as a civil police force during the aftermath of the Fourth Corporate. At that time, police was nowhere to be seen and the regular folk had to be protected, so they organized into this group to handle all the incoming threats. Their main territory is Santo Domingo, so both Arroyo and Rancho Coronado. They also have some influence in Charter Hill and the Glen, but they are not known for raiding other territories, they usually just keep to themselves. The problem with their cause though was their own personal vision of justice, which can be skewed. And as it is with all groups, they got corrupted, so now people are asking themselves if they are still protecting the people or just collecting protection money and they don't do anything for them. So in a sense they started as a group to fight other gangs, but slowly they became one. Now overall they get their money from robberies, extortion, gun smuggling, and they also like to steal and modify cars, so they could be one of the main groups if you want to race in the city. They are extremely well trained, most of the original members are hardcore veterans, so they know how to fight. And on top of that, other corpos and police doesn't touch them at all because they act as necessary evil for that community. Although if they start causing issues outside of their turf, then police comes in for them. Now I'm not sure if this guy is their leader, he does appear a few times, but we shall see once we get into the game itself. Overall their prominent members are Will Gunner, Rick Morton, Wyatt Alkin and others that we will learn about once we reach them in the game. The next gang everyone is excited about, and those are the Mox. They are a small non-territorial group, mostly consisting of sex workers, punks, anarchists and sexual minorities. Mox themselves were formed after the riots when Elizabeth Lizzie Borden, a strip club owner, was killed by the Tyger Claws. Keep in mind, Lizzie was known to treat all of her workers fair and protected them, so when a couple of Tyger Claws basically mutilated one of her girls, she retaliated by killing a couple of Tyger Claws. Now, that is not accepted by Tyger Claw standards, so the entire gang raided her place and flatlined everyone here, including her. Now, after her death, huge riots started against Tyger Claws, and they were in a heap of trouble. Ever since that day, the Mox and Tyger Claws are sworn enemies and don't even try to make them friends in the game. They generally have body augmentations which make them look almost as plastic dolls, and that's why they shine so much when we had a chance to see them in the gameplay footage. And as I said, they are non-territorial, they stick around their bar, Lizzie's in Kabuki district, but overall their goal is to protect working girls and guys from potential trouble, but also they have an income from their braindance bar. Now, even though they are technically a small organization, never underestimate them. Tyger Claws did that and they almost lost their entire organization because of it. Their leaders are Susie Q, Dolly Doll Radcliffe and James Moran. Next up are Tyger Claws, and they are one of the most ruthless gangs in the city. They can be as equal almost with the Malestrom when it comes to the deeds they do. Their members are predominantly of Asian descent and they kinda copy all of the methods of organizations from Triads and Yakuza. Their main turfs are Japantown and Charter Hill in Westbrook and Little China in Kabuki. Now Tyger Claws, at least the top members, still follow this sense of honor and pride, even during the war times, because oh my god, these guys like to fight. But usually, their low-level grunts are sadistic gangsters that torture, abduct and kill people. Sometimes not even because of a job, because they can. But keep in mind, even if you disrespect their lowest ranking member, they will come at you with full force to retaliate, since they consider that a deed of giant insult. Now, what makes Tyger Claws even more powerful? Well, they are connected to Arasaka. It's basically public knowledge almost that they are in bed with this corporation, and Arasaka supplies them with military-grade weapons, armor, but Claws have to pull out certain jobs for Arasaka if the need arises. Their leaders are Hiromi Sato, Ishinobata, Yame Miyagawa, Jotaro Shobo, Liu Xian, and Wudong. Now Tyger Claws get most of their income from controlling businesses and venues all over Night City. They own more businesses than any other gang in the city, and even though most of their places are registered as legal places, those are just fronts for their drug and prostitution operations. They also really like their bikes, so just fighting them with that could be very interesting, but keep in mind, if you disrespect one member, expect an entire army coming after you. And the last on the list we have Valentinos. They are one of the largest gangs in the city since they have about 6,000 members. Now generally Valentinos are situated in Haywood, so the Glen, Wellsprings and Vista del Rey, and are mostly made from members of Mexican heritage, but they are not an exclusive group, so all ethnicities and races are welcome to join them. They are also the representatives of Chicano culture in Night City, and generally they are not a violent gang, because they are rooted really deep in their community. Usually they protect them, but also have protections from the entire district. Generally you will recognize a Valentino easily since they openly show their gang tattoos and affiliations towards their group. Also because a lot of Valentinos has died fighting the police and other gangs, each member is then proclaimed to be a martyr, and they usually have graffiti and art showing and respecting their fallen members as saints. They are also very proud, meaning every betrayal of the group will result in a really bad death, but overall they're pretty cool if you don't touch them. Now Valentinos own a lot of businesses like restaurants, auto shops, nightclubs, but they also operate braindance studios, sports betting and construction jobs. Of course these are fronts because these areas can be used for their own purposes like gun smuggling, car theft, drug trafficking, robberies, hit jobs and much more. They also like to tune cars, so for everyone looking for sick rides, I suggest paying a visit. Their more prominent members are Jose Luis, Gustavo Orta, Camila Martinez and Julio Palacio. So with this we covered every gang in Cyberpunk 2077, of course within Night City. You won't be able to join them, but you will be able to work with them and become really close, but they will never trust you enough to enlist you. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to tell me down below what is your favorite gang so far, and also if you enjoyed the video please click that like and subscribe button for more. It truly does help. Also join our growing community on Twitter and Discord, and I do have a Patreon page. If you were looking for an extra way to support the channel, you can do it through the link below. And huge thanks to my current Patreon supporters. This is LKM signing out, and stay classy everyone. Bye bye.